For $96.49, I was effectively influenced by my TikTok algorithm. This is On, a luxury games magazine. Currently, you can purchase 2 editions of it, and the 3rd edition was just recently kickstarted. Established by veterans of Edge magazine, they label themselves the ultimate celebration of gaming's past, present, and future. I have 2 desires ultimately telling you about this today. One, I think it's a really cool product, and I have no issue telling you that it's a cool product and that if you're interested in it, you should probably get it. And 2, I want to discuss what it represents to me and to the industry as a whole. At a time when the industry does not seem very concerned with nurturing its fan bases and celebrating the art form. The largest companies in the space, like PlayStation, may not be too concerned about nurturing its audience and celebrating the products that it makes, but at least we have some independent forces that are willing to do the work here. But what should our takeaway be? That I had to spend a lot of money to get these 2 gaming magazines shipped all the way from the UK in order to celebrate the hobby that I enjoy so much. What these books represent to me is really just me investing in what I'm interested in. I really enjoy gaming and I enjoy critical thought about gaming. I find it actually quite difficult sometimes to find strong written pieces on gaming. I find that most gaming discourse happens either on podcasts or in videos, so the written end can be kind of underserved. I saw a TikTok video that laid out everything about these magazines and I just couldn't stop thinking about it for multiple weeks. And I remember looking at what the cost would be to get both of them. And it was an added cost because it ships from Britain. And what ultimately happened is I caved and I bought the magazines and I have not regretted it. The benefit of something like this is that it exposes me to written pieces I wouldn't necessarily be exposed to otherwise, like a whole breakdown of how impactful fashion games are. I'm not particularly interested in fashion games. I've never played one. Being able to understand that side of the industry more, I find it very interesting. The first piece in the first edition is about a lot of the old Virtua games, which I know next to nothing about, and then I read the piece and I learned a little bit more. This is a strong product, and it's the type of thing that I'm happy that I invested in, and it's very ironic to me that I bought this product right before PlayStation announced that they were getting rid of physical video games. I think the fight for physical games has been misguided so far. Most people are trying to fight the practical case. If you're in support of keeping physical games, you're probably trying to make a case about why it is just as valuable as vinyl and why it should be kept around. And there is this reason, and these people in this situation, this very specific situation, they need games on discs. And unfortunately, I think that's a losing battle. As more financial data comes out, it's become clearer and clearer that Sony maybe even undersold how minuscule the physical gaming audience is, and Take-Two also released numbers that showed that almost 96% of their revenue comes from digital products. And if you think even more practically, the disc of a game often is the worst way to play it. It's often the more inconvenient way to play something. You still have to download things, you have to go to the store to buy it, and there is no performance enhancement to having that disc. With vinyl, you can make the case that the sound is actively different, because it is. It's an actively different sound, and you can often hear the record player itself. It adds to a different vibe. With things like Blu-rays, which I'm also a big fan of and I own a lot of, the movie looks better than it does on streaming. Whether the average uninterested person could necessarily spot that is up for debate, but there is a reality to the fact that the quality is higher. And gaming doesn't have those advantages. There is no real practical argument for it. Add on top of that the fact that most people are willing to excuse anything that is done in the name of money. It's essentially get your bag culture, where if someone or an entity is saving money in a way or making additional money in a way that seems unsavory, they get a pass because it's like, oh, well, I would do that too me too. I'm a blue collar guy. The thing that I think needs to be focused on more is the fact that this is an emotional argument, and it should be an emotional argument. What we lose in losing physical games is the ability to fetishize the hobby. If you don't like that word choice, we can talk more about collectibles and ways of showcasing, this is what I like, this is what I enjoy, and now I am investing in a way to show off that I enjoy this. With PlayStation specifically, I've always made a point when I can to buy their games physically, because I always thought that's cool. Like, their first party games, I wanted to have the actual boxes and the actual discs because I saw that as more of a collectible. I don't do it with every game. I buy plenty of digital games, and I'm going to continue gaming despite the news that has been taking place lately. But the plea that I want more than anything is for someone that holds the keys to have any sense of responsibility over the hobby. Someone at these corporations, the corporations themselves, they need to nurture fan bases and make people excited about taking part in the hobby and buying their products. When everything is done in the name of the bottom line, it makes the consumer feel betrayed. And a lot of people feel betrayed right now. That's not going anywhere, even though a lot of people are still going to play a lot of video games despite the decisions made. I buy Criterion Collection Blu-rays. I buy a lot of Nintendo games physically. I buy first-party Sony games physically. I buy $97 gaming magazines because I care about this. I am the target audience that is being talked about as the target audience that cares about physical games and the target audience that probably buys more games than the average person. But what I notice in myself more and more that is due to the financial realities around us is that I can't often make that irresponsible decision of buying the $97 gaming magazine. I can't buy the full price $70 game. I have to wait for sales more. And I can't help but think if they're losing someone like me, who is who they're talking about. I am deliberately a hobbyist. I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one that they're losing along the way. And I'm not positive that they've put in the work to replace me. The most meaningful hobbies are the ones that allow you to showcase your love for it. I think of trading cards. I think of things like Blu-rays. I even think of Guinness. I like drinking Guinness, and now, as a gift at some point, I'm going to ask my fiance for Guinness glasses. I want the physical thing that is the way that you're meant to drink it. Theoretically, they could just decide, like, you know what? Making these glasses is more trouble than it's worth. And doesn't that seem like a ridiculous idea? I think there are times in business where you are almost obligated to make the decision that is less financially viable in order to help the health of your brand and the health of your industry. This is not an issue isolated to gaming right now. It feels like most companies everywhere are opting for that easy way to cut cost and to give people less where they can. And it's especially happening in gaming. And I'm not sure how much further they can push it. At a certain point, people are going to be fed up. And I'm not sure if there's going to be enough casual people that don't care about the cost, that don't care about the different things that have been cut back on. I don't think their purchases can just be taken to the bank by these companies. I think any reasonable person can look at the industry right now and say it's not in a great place, and especially with the cost of technology, it's not going to be in a better place anytime soon. It's not going to be because of physical games that things continue to go further downhill, but it's not going to be buoyed by it either. That slight cost-saving measure is losing a hell of a lot of goodwill in a time where it would really help if they were building goodwill.